Welcome to RCS. As always, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan. We're broadcasting live at the Mount Si Pub or Tavern.
It's going to be snowed in if we're here too long.
I know, right?
Yeah, somehow we ended up at a tavern, the tavern, again. Do you know people have called me and been like, where did you find a bar that's open? I said, I didn't say it was open.
Yeah.
So we're having business meetings here on Mondays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Normally we would be at Drivers Club when they open back up. I'm sure we will be back there. But we're brought to you by Haggerty, Avant, Carter Subaru, Rainier Beer, and, of course, America's Automotive Trust, our in-kind sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was your weekend?
Pretty good.
Busy?
Yeah. Finished my on-call. I'm pretty much off until the 3rd, so no more work until after the new year.
And now you jinxed it.
Yeah, right?
Now the world's going to break.
Probably. It did that. It tried to do that over the weekend a few times.
Yeah. So
yeah.
we started Project Raptor. Yeah. Project Raptor.
Yes.
Is that what we're calling? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. The R in RCS now stands for Raptor. Yeah. We got your what are you going to?
I put a Retrax bed cover on.
Yeah, that.
Which now that we've done it would probably be super easy. Their instructions were absolutely terrible. The product's great, but
to be fair, if you follow the directions, it points you in the general direction of where you're supposed to go.
General direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now that it's on, I'm really glad I did it because it's raining sideways and flooding everywhere and snowing, and I bought it because I'm tired of getting all the gear wet and leaving it in the cab.
Well, we haven't found a friend lucky enough to lock him in the back yet to see if it's leaking. So, hey, Carl, what are you doing later? Nothing. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm glad to get that done, and now it's on to the big stuff. Hopefully we can get it done soon. Maybe after I get back, though, will be the big winch and bumper takeoff and front mount intercooler, lights.
I mean, the way we do things 3 or 4 times, that's going to take us a whole weekend. So
you're not wrong. But we did find out it fits in the garage.
It really barely. Well, I mean, we had moved some things, but yeah, it's who knew?
Yeah.
I just kept telling you back up eventually. I figured the truck would make a bigger hole than would make a hole in the truck, so it'd be fine.
Yeah, that's true.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get that thing up in the mountain and use that winch, though.
You got to get it in there first.
Yeah.
And I was saying it's a really nice winch. It's sad that nobody will see it.
I know. I got the top of the line worn because it's the only one that fits, and
it's the only one that'll haul that truck.
Yeah. So because it's a fat pig, but that's all right.
Wow, that's insulting.
The truck is heavy and wide.
Yeah, I actually went out and watched some videos on the new TRX or whatever. You're right, nice interior.
Yeah, super nice interior.
That's I don't know how anybody's gonna really use it off road. I think there might be a too much power in that truck for somebody because a normal person's gonna buy it. I was watching 2 Canadian guys go barreling through a field in it, which it worked for that, but
yeah, it's one of those things we mentioned in the last episode. There's never too much power. There's just a lack of traction.
No, I was talking about the lack of intellect of anybody that's going to buy it.
Right, yeah, but I mean, it's definitely one of those bragging rights kind of trucks to me, where it's cool that it has 700-plus horsepower. I like that. I like things with a lot of power, but getting to use that power, making function out of it will be one thing, because often we see a lot, we've talked about this before, using too much throttle off-road usually gets you in more trouble than using less. It's digging that instant hole, getting stuck in the snow, which usually, I mean, most stuff we do around here is not Baja, where you can really use all that power. So it's awesome when you can, but those opportunities are more rare than needing it.
No, I think that's the new slogan for Washington. Welcome to Washington. It's not Baja.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to stick.
Okay, well, you never know. Whatever.
Yeah. This week's Carter Subaru tip of the week is kind of an off the wall one. So one of the things I did, I was showing Nick on the way here, is I changed my phone, and I have this old phone. I have a Pixel 3 XL as an extra phone that I'm not using. And while most people probably go through and sell their phones, most vehicles today have a Wi-Fi hotspot built in. So I have turned that into a dedicated phone for the truck. It just sits on the console plugged in all the time, and because I have Wi-Fi and unlimited data in it, that will become the permanent Spotify, Gaia Maps, Google Maps, whatever playlist. I never have to add my phone to it, which gives me free reign of the phone, even though when it's not connected to the car. But I also have all the advantages of having a fully built-in system for navigation, things like that, with a smarter assistant than the god-awful systems that are built into every vehicle. I can't find a single system that's good in a car. But the phone systems are great. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, they're great. And so by using the advantage of having the phone built into the car all the time, and it's nothing special. It's an old phone that's worth virtually nothing on the open market. I have a dedicated real assistant that will actually give me real answers then. What did you say? And I have no idea what you said because, Google and Siri actually work somewhat. So,
are you going to stick with your Apple phone?
I don't think so. I really hate it.
Yeah, but you bitch about the Google stuff, too.
Oh, they all have their faults. The list is much longer on the Apple side for me.
You're starting to twitch when I say the word Apple.
Yeah,
so
I really
okay.
am. Yeah, I was trying to download a photo today, which I had to convert to use because of the proprietary format that Apple uses. Now, you can change it. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that I had to do a conversion to change it to use it stock was like...
Did Apple make you buy an app to convert it?
No.
Oh, that's
no.
nice.
You can save it in JPEG or whatever their proprietary format is.
Yeah.
But then there's also the USB-C versus Lightning debate. Don't get me started. Anyway, but if you have this extra phone laying around and it's a decent phone, you can use it as a dedicated resource in your vehicle without having to pay for data because it's just using the existing Wi-Fi in the vehicle. So it's a great use for an old device that really smartens your vehicle up, if you can call it that.
That's one thing. You don't have to pay for a cell phone plan for your car, right?
I do, actually.
You do?
Yeah, it's like $20 a month for unlimited data.
Oh,
and
nice.
the nice thing is the car is AT&T and my phone is Verizon. So chances are between those two, I have service. If I'm going to have service, it's going to have it there between those two. I mean,
fair.
T-Mobile's fine. Don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with them. But I mean, at least if you have two, you have far better coverage than if you just had one. So...
That's math.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, right.
Okay,
They have different coverage maps.
2 is better than 1.
Yeah. So
bicycles are better than unicycles. Yeah, we've heard that before. Yeah.
Well, somebody with a unicycle is going to email me and be mad now.
Yeah. 2 seals are better than 1. Even a blown seal. So, yeah.
Listen to our last episode.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice stretch, Nick.
Yep. You're welcome.
So our guest this week, Linnea, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Speaking of bicycles, we have someone who knows a lot more about bicycles, riding them, and is a lot better at it than anybody in this room.
I used to be good at it. That was the 90s. So, yeah.
There was a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were probably better at it because the technology in the bikes wasn't so good back then.
Yeah. Well, and I was big, and the bikes weighed a lot, and you just pointed them downhill, and it was, and I was getting cheap parts, so that was fun, but I don't know how I lived through it. I'm going to be honest with you. There's some things.
I have a lot of motorcycle stories like that. I don't know how I survived.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about coming in here, like, I did some work with Cannondale, and that lefty shock when it came out, like, if you don't know what it is, basically, it's literally the left side of a shock, and there's no right side.
Yeah.
And it's a mind, the first time you ride it, like, this wheel's going to come off. By the way, it does come off if you're not careful. That's another story.
Maintain your products.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, is it Linnea or Linnea?
Linnea.
Linnea. Okay, I got it right. I was just making sure. I could have sworn I said that wrong. But Linnea Rooke, welcome to the show. She's an instructor at Fluid Mountain Bike School. Mm-hmm. Fluidride or Fluid?
Yeah, it's Fluidride.
Fluidride. Okay, and you're based out here in Fall City, as luck would have it. You can actually learn to ride a mountain bike better than you already do out here. Most people could use some instruction, just like anything other sport we come across. And we have an awesome instructor who has a great Instagram, by the way. So does the school, with good riding tips. You guys have YouTube. And yeah, I saw your stuff. You were recommended by a listener of ours who said you should get a hold of her. She's got awesome stuff. And sure enough, we checked out your Instagram and YouTube and was like, yeah, she's got some stories. Bring it on.
We just had to wait a month for her to come back from Baja while she's having fun.
You were just in Baja.
He was.
He was, yeah. I wish we were in Baja.
Yeah. There are people that wish I was in Baja. Yeah. Many people. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I wish I was in Baja.
Yeah, a little warmer.
Were you down there, like, training, riding, fun?
So we were down there filming. We are doing episodes for our online school and also for YouTube. And so we were getting some videos down there, some content. And the reason we like to film down there so much, one, it's a wonderful town, and it's Todos Santos, which is about an hour north of Cabo.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we're filming. It's a beautiful place.
So you were suffering
people.
the whole time then?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's really hard because it gets warm in the afternoon, and you kind of have to get your ride done early.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So you can drinking by noon? Yeah, exactly. I mean, relaxing?
Right. Well, then we have sunset shoots, too, so it's a hard life.
Wow. God, it's that midday recovery that's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's cool about it is that the terrain here is so different from the terrain down there. So for us, producing content for people around the world, we can't just show mountain bike trails that look like outside of Seattle.
Right, because we have Utah and Arizona, tons of mountain biking in those areas, so you're hitting all the bases with that.
Yeah, you can't just show skills for our terrain because we have great dirt, we've got big pack berms, and then if you're living in a place with loose rocks and chunky terrain and loose turns, flat turns, then our content doesn't work for you. So it's nice to have that variety, and they're actually really nice compliments. Places like Utah and the PNW are great compliments as well.
Oh, cool.
Just make sure you watch the videos, then go ride. I tried the whole riding one. Doesn't work as well.
Yeah, you learn some lessons.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Quickly. It's hard to find a phone mount, too.
For your bike?
Yeah, of course. You're not watching the videos while you're riding? Oh, I'm doing that. I'm doing that wrong. I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. Turn like this. I don't see that turn up here. Exactly. Yeah. It's like a bad Grand Theft Auto, trust me.
I don't know how we survived our teenage years.
I literally spent my teenage years on a mountain bike doing really stupid, so I'm really surprised too. Like I have all my original teeth. Nothing. There's bones that are being held together by metal, but it was when I was an adult, so I don't. Yeah, it's amazing. So I look at the amount of helmets that I've gone through in my life, let alone ones that fit my head. So I didn't have full face helmets when I was a kid, and my face still looks okay. So yeah,
It's the beard.
Yeah, exactly. Hides the scars.
Yeah.
So
How did you get started? Just watched Rad a bunch of times. You're like, Lori Laughlin's I'm doing that. I'm just kidding. She was terrible.
She can buy herself into anything. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's kind of the typical story. A lot of women get into mountain biking because their boyfriend or husband does it and they think it's a great idea for them to do it. And sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. I was kind of thrown in the deep end, got a downhill bike and sent down some pretty technical blacks and double blacks. And actually, in one of my first rides, I ran myself over. I got home and I'm like, man, the back of my leg really hurts. And I looked at it and it was this perfect tire mark wrapping the back of my thigh. And I did it to myself somehow.
Oh, you don't even know how you did it?
No, I fell so many times.
Oh, okay.
I can't even pinpoint the time that I ran myself over and had this like perfect minion tire mark, which is like the tire I had. So yeah, it started out great. This was
great start to the day.
It was a great start.
If only she had some instruction from some type of school.
Well, and that's the funny thing. It took me 6 years. I've been racing in the pro category for 4 years, and I just started getting actual instruction, and it's made a big difference.
Wow.
But when you wing it, some things go well and some things don't.
Well, there is a lot. I mean, when you're riding, there is a lot of by feel, and in feeling how far you can push the bike, and knowing, don't really put on the too much of the front brake, or you'll end up over the front brake and things like that. I've many times come home with the gears in the back of my leg and things like that. But that's I don't think I've ever I've run myself over in the fact that like I went over the bike and the bike kept going over me. But that was
I've gone over the handlebars and been right over my motorcycle.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun.
Jeez.
Super steep downhills.
Yeah. No. Yeah. My same scenario.
Needless to say, I wasn't leaning far enough back.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a quick lesson learned.
So you started riding kind of for fun, and
Yes.
then took it into more of a pro career.
Yeah, I started racing. Just I basically ended up with a bike and didn't know people in the bike world, so I started going to races just to meet people. And I had a downhill bike, and downhill bikes are really tough to pedal uphill.
Yeah.
So by going to downhill races, you automatically had a shuttle or a chairlift to the top.
Oh,
so
okay.
it worked out great, but my first bike was 42 pounds, and it was tough to ride.
I was going to say, by today's standards, that's very heavy. We
It's
should talk
pretty
about
heavy.
that. We have a
It's
lot
pretty
of
heavy.
Yeah, we have a lot of mountain bike listeners, but like, what's a good weight for a mountain bike now? Let's say not like a new rider. Like, what's if you're looking at a bike, you're looking at a weight. Like, I would be a large on a bike. So, what would be a good weight for me on a bike?
Like a low to mid 30s.
Okay, yeah. So an extra 15 pounds is a lot.
It was a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
and
'cause
so
you're
it was
pretty
like
tiny.
It was like riding a bowling ball, and you could turn left, or you could turn right, or you could go straight, but there was no three-dimensional aspect to it. Yeah.
You cannot go left and straight at the same time. That is not an option. That is what the berms are for, to take you this side. Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I understand.
That's the conversation I had.
I think my downhill bike in like the 90s was close to 60 pounds.
Oh, man.
And that had some Cannondale advanced aluminum design. I use in air quotes, but yeah. I mean, well, it was all. I mean, there was aluminum, but they still weighed a ton, and we didn't have drop posts. We didn't have, and we had 3 sprockets in the front. And back in my day,
But
the chairlift took me to the top. Yeah.
it's cool that you rode then, because bikes have changed so much since then. And one of the key things is the head angle of the bike, and the design of the bike now makes it so that you aren't constantly falling over the front of the bike, because the head angle is slack in the front, and so it puts your weight in a different position relative to the front axle.
There's a lot of math going on in
There's
biking.
a lot of math.
That's cool.
I wish I could draw pictures with all these little angles to make it look fancy, but
You
basically,
should put that in a video.
I will.
Okay, good.
I sure will.
We're all like, tell us more.
No, we were talking about it last week. We were talking about it with the Baja stuff and bigger tires running over. And then, like, I bought a friend's, actually John Fowler's stump jumper, like 6 years ago, and it had 29-inch front wheels, which I had never ridden in my life. It had a drop post, which I found out the hard way when I hit the button on accident. I was like, what was that? So, yeah. But yeah, technology is so, but you're right. It put me so far back. I don't think I fell off the front of that bike at all. It says a lot. I fell off the front of my other bikes a lot.
You got a lot of weight up top.
both of you are looking at me like, you're special, huh? Yeah.
Well, as we talked about, like a hard lesson to learn on a motorcycle, it's the same kind of physics apply. That when you're going steep downhill, you got to lean way back, and just a few inches makes a giant difference. And so it's a little actually easier on a motorcycle because all that weight you've got down low with the engine will actually hold the bike down a little easier. On a bike with no weight like that, when you reduce literally 220 pounds off of it, your tendency to go forward amplifies real quick.
Well, I mean, especially with brake technology. I was riding with rim brakes. Discs were like a new thing. You're lucky if you had the 3-spoke carbon fiber spin wheels that you had to take out a loan, sell your mother's kidney. But yeah. So.
All right, well, let's take our first break. When we come back, let's talk more about how you got started in this career. We'll be right back.
Sure.
We spend an average of 8 hours and 41 minutes a day facing screens. Laptops, smartphones, tablets, even digital refrigerators. But what are we really connected to? Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was created by Haggerty for people who love cars.
I was just about to be like, where'd you get started?
Just a very aggressive talk show.
No. Dan's like, we're going to bring it in. Dan's like, you tell her, ask her where she gets started. I'm like, okay, where'd you get started? I know that question came out of the blue. You weren't prepared for that, but where'd you get started?
We talked to you about the boyfriend. You said you got started. How old were you when you got started is what I was going
26.
for. 26. Oh, so you started actually later then.
Yeah, yep.
I thought you were much younger than that.
Why, thank you. That is the impression I like to give.
She started young, men suck. Move on, Dan. Jeez, I got the point. Why didn't you? Love the bikes. Hate the boys.
Well, bikes are pretty reliable, so.
Oh, that's a good one.
Cheers to you. Agreed. Yeah, I'd like to disagree. I can't.
Yeah, but you didn't start riding until you were 26, though.
Yeah, no, I guess I had started in some other sports. I did a lot of very different sports. I was a rower, cross-country ski racer. Then I got
I'm sorry. I'm not going to. Cross-country ski racer. You just don't hear that a lot.
No.
Which sport would you like to do? I'd really like to do cross-country racing. That's a hard sport.
It is a hard sport, but it's relevant to the story because we trained so hard in college for that. It was, 50 weeks a year, and you couldn't risk getting hurt doing other sports. And so when I graduated, I got a motorcycle license. And then Mom said no motorcycle, so I bought a dirt bike, which I thought was a really good compromise. And then,
it's not a motorcycle, it's a dirt bike. I like the way your logic works.
My logic works the same way, just so they're accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But technically, on the dirt bike, it's a little bit more in my control because the trees don't move. There's no cars coming at you. Yes. If you hit something, it's probably on you.
Do you feel like she gave the same speech to her mother? It's not a motorcycle. I control the bike. The trees don't move. Yeah.
I can vouch for those trees still being very painful to hit.
I can vouch for trying to have that conversation with my mom, and it didn't work.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, though, because we've got these episodes, and we have this intro that we've been using at least for the first 10 of them, and my mom watches it, and every clip is of me, except there's one, 360 cam clip, and she's like, oh, somebody hit a tree. I'm like, yes, Mother, somebody did. And I don't know if she actually put it together that it was me who hit the tree head on, just straight into it. But maybe she was just not trying to embarrass me or something.
Do you know, when you drink and you watch that 360, it looks like you hit a tree. No, Mother, it wasn't me.
Yes, every other clip is me, just not the one where somebody screws up really bad.
I
had a stunt double.
Right.
Yeah.
I was dropping down a route ladder on my dirt bike up in Walker Valley, and I just caught the front end, and I went straight over the handlebars, but right up against the tree. And so I hit the tree with my back, broke my back protector, and ended head down in the dirt with the bike like up against me, pinned to the tree. Oh, yeah. I don't know how I'm alive today. It was great, though. I'm sure it was very entertaining to watch.
Oh, my God.
I crashed a downhill mountain bike, and they had to pull my bike 12 feet out of a tree once.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I kind of threw it. It's a long story, but yeah. Yeah.
All right, so you're out of college. You're 26. You're doing dirt bikes.
Yeah, I got the dirt bike and had some crashes on that, which is expected.
Yeah.
And then that's when the boyfriend at the time, all of his buddies were getting married and having kids, and their wives said no more dirt bikes. So they sold their dirt bikes and bought mountain bikes. So you can see this progression.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm on a mountain bike. It's fine. It's
Somebody
safe.
else's children forced you to stop riding motorcycles. Makes sense to me. I mean, yeah, exactly. She had a kid. You got to stop riding. Uh-huh.
So that's how I got the bike.
Got it.
And then, that relationship ended, and there I was with a bike and didn't know what I was doing. But it is funny looking back on it, because when you get started in a new sport, it's a culture.
Yeah.
And you got to dress the right way and all this stuff. And I showed up in an event, and I had like short shorts on and these huge hockey style knee pads and a spaghetti strap tank top. But then I had my dirt bike neck brace, like a Liat brace.
Yeah.
And a full face moto helmet.
You're like, I'm running what I got. Give me a break.
It was the worst.
No, she exposed as much skin as she could to the world. Trust me. Mountain bikes love that. Yeah.
But with the neck brace.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that just means you'd be alive to feel the pain of the road rash. Yeah, believe me. And I can see that. You're walking through, like, is that girl wearing spaghetti straps? Oh, she just must have taken her pads off. No, she's going for it. Oh, let's watch.
So I went to my first race, and I thought, well, I don't really know what mountain bikers wear. And I had this downhill bike shoved in the back of my Camry at the time. And I didn't have any proper bike clothes, so I had these spandex, like, cross-country ski pants on, because that was my more recent sport, and this white fur-lined jacket at a muddy downhill race that didn't even have bathrooms or any, and it was just, it's dirtbagging it out there. And I was so out of place, and I was okay with that. But I got to the top of this run, and I thought, what am I going to do if I'm riding down this run and the tire rips my pants open? Because when you're riding,
we've all had that question.
when you're learning, what feels safe is to move back on the bike, so you put your weight back. And when you get more advanced, you actually don't want to be hanging off the back of your bike. You don't have a lot of control back there. But when you're learning and you're a little scared, your tendency is to move off the back of the bike and to hang over the rear tire.
Yep.
And sometimes when you're learning, you hit your butt on the tire.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Been there.
This panic moment of, I'm not wearing the right clothes, and there are consequences to that. So after I ran through all the scenarios of what I would do, because there's like photographers on the course, and I had all these horror moments going through my mind, I realized I really needed to get proper gear. And since then, the bike manufacturers have actually come out with really appropriate women's gear that fits. So we've made some progress in that. But yeah, no, it was a bit of a rough start. Had a lot of crashes and didn't really know what I was doing.
How did the community embrace you? Because I found that there was a lot of welcoming people that were willing. Like, the best people in the world would sit down and talk to you, and just because they shared the passion. It's just a lot like the car community and the off-road community. It's like they will see that. Like, I feel like that somebody should have walked in and been like, you need a back plate, and you need elbow pads, and you know.
Yeah. I did have people kind of adopt me. Actually, a local family kind of adopted me and
Nice.
took me under their wing and helped me get on.
We don't want you dead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Unless you're trying to get sponsored by OnlyFans, this is a bad decision.
Yeah, but you're
How'd
right.
your first race go? Well, my tire didn't eat my ass, so I'm good. So, yeah. She's telling that story. I'm like, I've done that. But I had those like old school pants on that had like that crotch pad that went. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah, I would have. It can still eat through that. Trust me. So, yeah. Those pants are not built for underwear. I'm just saying. So yeah.
But you're right. The community makes the sport, because there are a lot of great sports out there that if they don't have the right community, it's still not that much fun. It's not that engaging.
Yeah.
The mountain bike community, probably just like the car community, is really welcoming, really inviting, and it just makes you want to keep coming back because you love the people. So it's like a lot of the communities in the area.
What was the turning point for you where you realized that you could do this as a career?
Well, that was actually this summer. I worked an office job until this summer.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's awesome.
I was in healthcare for 10 years and did a lot in the health and wellness space. And then what happened was I had gone to Baja last February to get some photos with this company, Fluidride.
Yeah.
And I had a great time, and I just wanted to be more involved, and I just basically didn't go away and kept volunteering my time. And
Hi.
yes.
Do you need somebody to hit a tree? 'Cause, I mean, I can do it. My mom's not going to be happy, but I'll do it.
Yeah, sacrifice yourself. Actually, I'll tell you about that.
Please do.
I did hit a tree, but I also broke my collarbone a few months ago on camera.
I remember you posted that. You were talking about that, or when we were trying to schedule this, you were saying you had broken your collarbone, and that was just, you hit a tree?
No, I just hit the ground.
Oh, and just took it back, yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't really all that much. It doesn't look like a bad crash, but it's online, so even my mother can watch it. I just hit some soft dirt on a berm and was a bit too high on it, and it had just been rebuilt, and just kind of this perfect storm. The front tire pitched at a 90-degree angle, which stopped the bike, and I happened to kind of lawn dart into the next jump, which, normally you think that riding steep downhill stuff is more dangerous, but you get the benefit of the roll when you're on steep terrain.
Yep.
If you're on flat terrain, or if you're on jumps and you happen to go into the face of the next jump, we call it casing, you don't really have
Sudden
any
stop.
Yeah, you get a very strong impact.
Yeah.
Yep. I hit a berm I'd hit tons of times riding as a kid, and I broke my tibia and fibia in half.
Ooh.
Yeah, just came in a little too hot, a little too low, little tiny stump, just hit me right in front of the knee, and just crack, smooth break right through.
Ow.
Yeah, it felt great.
But kids heal so fast.
Yeah, that's
Do they
still
even
like 6
notice?
months in a cast.
Oh, man.
All the way from like my all the way from my groin to my ankle, just straight through. It was great.
Oh man. Well, this was actually a happy ending because I got a rod put in, and don't make that face.
I'm like, ow.
No.
You're like, it's stronger
I got a
now.
happy face. I understand. Keep going.
Thank you. Yeah, and you said you have some metal in you.
I got some metal in me, but yeah, that was from doing other stupid. But yeah, Tough Mudders and things like that. I've got fusions in my neck and things like that. So they pinned it? Or they
Yeah, they just put a rod in it.
They rodded you? Okay, good.
Yes.
Like, okay. I mean, but how long ago was it?
Like 2.5 months ago.
Okay.
And I have a surgery next week. They're going to take the rod out, and it'll be like it never happened.
Wow.
Is that the new technology now?
Yeah,
okay.
pretty cool.
That's cool then.
I was riding in 2.5 weeks and filming again in 3.5 weeks. That's how good the technology is.
Wow.
So crash away, like.
I don't know if that's the takeaway from that, but yeah.
It's new technology. It's new technology. I'm sure it's cheap. It's fine. She worked in healthcare. It's fine. If she says it's okay, you're probably got to go with it.
But kind of cool that you can have, like,
Right.
I broke my collarbone in 3 pieces. It was a mess.
You don't. I would not have known. Like watching you tonight, like in your range of motions, I wouldn't have known you broke something.
Yeah, and I had that 3 days after surgery. Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
Dang.
Ow and congratulations. Like,
Yeah, that's really cool. They can do that so fast.
Yeah.
Being an instructor now, though, what does that entail? Let's go through, like, what common mistakes you see. What's the one thing you wish everybody would just shut up and listen to that you told them 100 times? Things like that.
Gosh, well, so I'll clarify that I run the operations for the company.
Okay.
So while I do help out with some of the coaching, I get to do a little bit of everything because we've got 3 different parts to our business. One is an online school, one is in-person coaching, and then one is international tours. So
that's right. You guys do tours.
yeah, so we have a little bit of that. So somebody has to be behind the computer making that stuff happen. So that's what I do. So I run all the operations, but I also do some coaching, and I think a lot of it is actually that what we were talking about before, where people are too far back on the bike. And that creates a lot of problems in jumping and cornering, in general technique, even going down a hill. Like if you're going down a steep hill and you get to the bottom and you have to turn and you're off the back of your bike, you have no traction on your front tire. So it's generally just being too far back on your bike.
Huh. Good to know, because that's
and you can split your pants.
That's my panic on a bicycle. Is I'm like, I don't want to go over the bars. I've done that way too many times, so I lean too far back. But I mean, it makes perfect sense now that you say it out loud. I'm like, oh, duh, if I'm back, I don't have front traction. That's obvious. Anything off road or wet driving, it's like, you want to be partially on the brakes so that you've got traction on the front of the car. It makes perfect sense in a mountain bike too.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you couldn't do back in the day when you're on the old style bikes and the front of the bike's pretty vertical. You had to be back so you didn't flip over the front, but now that's not really a concern. Yeah. You're a lot less likely to flip over the front, and if your body's not in the right position, all your weight's in the rear wheel.
Makes perfect sense.
It's amazing how much of a bike you control when you're not on the seat as far as body motion and things like that. Like even old school stuff, but like watching some of the racers, and I still do religiously get on YouTube and watch the race because it's always amazing to me to watch some of these people that are blasting. Like downhill mountain biking and cross country and everything is so much faster now. So much faster. Like the stuff they're doing in downhill now and massive gaps, stuff that you just wouldn't do. I mean, we didn't have the travel and the suspension. I mean, rock shocks were literally like fucking like goo little things you put in the front. Like they were like plastic cylinders that barely did anything. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you look at technology now, like we've got a bike here that you'll see in photos. It's incredible. It's just like the technology that comes out of it is so cool. And the carbon is making things so lighter and so much rigid. And I mean, the idea of going out and buying a bike, like in the old days, you would buy a hardtail bike or you'd buy a mountain bike, and that's what you bought. And then you turn your mountain bike into a downhill bike by, some people were cutting the back of the frames off and doing stuff like that. Now you go out there and you buy any type of bike that's not for the road, and some even for the road, and they're full suspension. Everything's full suspension. It's such a different world.
Yeah, on the road bikes, you can lock it out, make it stiff. Yeah, I was watching a movie the other night, North of Nightfall, actually. Have you watched it yet? Mm-mm. So these guys go up north of the Arctic Circle. It's called North of Nightfall because it's daylight the whole time they're there. They find a little remote island off in Canada up in, I think it's, what is it now? It used to be Northwest Territory. Now it's called Nunavut. And some of the stuff they ride down is this shale and stuff. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I couldn't walk down that if I tried. I would be head over heels forward rolling down this. And watching guys ride now and the bikes they use, and this is 2018, so this film's not brand new. The technology has actually changed quite a bit even since then as I've been looking through. And seeing the stuff bikes can do now is just insane. It's amazing to watch. I love it. Like I don't downhill or ride it much anymore, but it's still amazing to watch. Like it doesn't matter what you're into. It's just like the talent and the skill, the bar has been raised so high for riders. I remember when Danny McCaskill came out and just changed the internet, literally. He literally changed the internet. It was the most viewed video on YouTube when he came out. I actually met him at Crankworks one year. Amazing guy. Yeah, he's just super humble, great guy. But like the stuff, the way technology has changed biking is almost more substantial than I've seen in cars. Just because it's so accessible. Like if you want a fully carbon fiber anything car, you're breaking the 7-figure market. I don't think there is. Well, now you can get into McLarens, I guess, for the low 200s. But if you want to do that on a bicycle, you're looking at $9-10 for starting with like insane technology.
Yeah, but back in '98, you could buy Missy Giovie's downhill bike off from Cannondale for like $2,500.
Right.
Now you can barely buy a new bike that's like built for Susie down the street for $2,500. It's like
it's true.
I was out looking, and then you're talking about technology going now, and you get on these sites like Cannondale Trek and all that, and a lot of these they're now building these electric bikes. The fact that they're electric assist, and if you don't have a chairlift kind of thing.
Yeah.
So have you ridden a lot of those? I
haven't because in this area there aren't a lot of legal places for them. That's
good to know.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I thought you could ride those everywhere. I'm going to be honest. Probably good I don't have one.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't quite mastered skateboards yet, so so we're good. Yeah.
They definitely have a good place.
Okay.
It's a matter of time for e-bikes to become a little more popular. For a lot of people, that's a lot more money to get an e-bike on top of your bike plus maintenance. And right now, nobody can really get bikes anyway because of COVID. So
what's COVID?
Well, let me tell you.
That sounds dangerous. We should stay away from that.
Mountain bike instead. It's much safer.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I was going to say entry level with Giant Specialized seems to be $5,000 seems to be about the median price point. And I've been looking at that because obviously growing up riding motorcycles my whole life, the e-bike market has a lot of appeal to me. And as technology improves, I actually take it as a positive that I think we're going to start seeing a lot of the dirt bike market go away.
Really?
And I don't think that's a downside. It's a lot cleaner. It's quieter, which is what, if you want to get anything shut down, you make a lot of noise.
But we're already seeing that. I mean, like DJ's got that electric.
Yeah, we
off-road.
have friends with electric bikes left and right.
No, but that's like an electric motorcycle, like
Yeah.
off-road.
Well, I
right?
mean, KTM and Yamaha
Yeah.
actually makes an electric e-bike, not electric motorcycles. They make that too, but they make electric e-bikes. And
Yeah, we need a definition between an electric motorcycle and an electric e-bike.
Well, electric motorcycle-
To me, like the
Street
depending
legal-
on how big your tires are.
you're paying tabs or you're not.
Some of us don't pay tabs on their cars, so go ahead. So yeah, I forgot. No,
Anyway,
yeah.
let's hear your thoughts, though. What do you think of the e-bike market coming into the mountain bike market? Thank you.
Well, I personally don't have strong feelings like a lot of people do.
That's
a lot
rare
of,
in that.
A lot of people have some strong feelings, and you could spend a lot more time talking about it on Facebook than actually riding a bike. But
She says a lot without saying much.
Yeah, well said.
That was well played. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait to put that on Facebook. You are going to be toast.
oh man,
Yeah.
don't tag me.
Yeah, exactly. And then she said this.
So I think, whether it's an e-bike or I'm just going to start with pedal bikes in general, when I compare that lifestyle to the dirt bike lifestyle I had slightly before that, for me, dirt biking took a lot of time getting the bikes ready, driving to a place where you could actually ride it, coming home, and the number of days I could do that in the course of a year were pretty limited. And so I might get 6 to 10 days in the summer of dirt biking if I was feeling ambitious. Mountain biking, whether it's any e-bike or acoustic bike, they're calling them.
That's clever.
Yes. Makes sense.
You can get out and you can do that after work. You can do that on a Saturday morning before doing other commitments. And so around here, since we're filled with trails in the area,
Yeah, we're bicycle crazy here.
it's something you can do often. So you get this accessibility and frequency thing. So instead of being a weekend warrior on the dirt bike, and now I get a ride every day or most days when it's not snowing. Like
Go
today.
fat tire.
We can fat tire today. But yeah, so
That's
you get
the
that
beer, right? I could do that. Yeah, fat tiring, I could do that. Yeah.
right. So you get that accessibility thing here.
Yeah.
And as far as the e-bikes go, it just, it depends on where you live. We have a lot of trails, and I don't know, I don't mind pedaling, to be honest. The racing I do there are no e-bike races yet, and so as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to have to pedal for the races, so I prefer to train the way that I'll be racing. The e-bikes, the technology is coming around quickly, but for me, it's still a really heavy bike. And so when I think about how heavy that bike is relative to me, that's just a lot of bike. to
Yeah, a
manage.
light e-bike I've seen is about 40 pounds on the super lights.
Those are super lights.
Yeah, like the top end Specialized, which are, by the way, are like 20 grand for one of those full carbon
some of
really
those
nice
are-
e-bikes. Yeah.
They're
They're
cheap to
insane.
fix when you crash, too.
Well, and it's funny actually coming and talking to you guys because the sport you do is not cheap, and I'm like, okay, well maybe mountain biking is a lot cheaper than I thought, because we think
It's just a different
$10,000.
What are you racing, by the way? Are you doing downhill, cross country? What are you doing?
I race enduro. Do you know?
Enduro. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Badass. Okay.
So both.
So I started in downhill.
Yeah, okay.
So I still race in downhill for fun, but I'm racing enduro now. Part of it is some of those courses for downhill are insane.
Yeah.
And I think I have a better competitive advantage in the enduro space where it's kind of downhilly, but you're out there all day on your bike. So I had better luck in the enduro scene.
No, yeah, it's a great series. That's something. I mean,
It's tough.
Well, it's really tough. Like when you're sitting there thinking, I like to pedal. It's like, yeah, cross country, there's some pedaling, and downhill, there's a little bit, but enduro's it's enduring. I think that's why they named it that.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah.
That's genius, Nick. Thank you for that.
Every once in a while, something good comes out. Every once in a while, not everybody gets to hear the good ideas.
Yeah, I'm not shy about it. I actually gave up motorcycling because I just didn't have enough time to go ride. It was like if I wanted to, between getting all my gear together, also having the truck or a trailer to pull it, and then getting up there and then maintaining the bike, it was just too much work. I didn't have the time. I just want to get and go. And so, yeah, it just didn't become viable as I got older and my time became less. It just wasn't as fun anymore because I'm like, man, I got to dedicate an entire day to this, and then time after to clean up the bike and get everything ready. A lot easier to do with the bicycle.
Yeah, it can be really low maintenance if you want it to be. I mean, I put air in my tires every 3 weeks. Like super low maintenance with that.
Yeah, and then with a bicycle, it's like, hose it off. If you, re-lube your chain, you're pretty much good to go as long as your brakes and stuff are maintained. I mean,
I spent more time maintaining my bikes. I don't know why. It's like OCD. I mean, I had every park tool, every chain cleaner, every lube. I mean, it was just.
I'll try a motorcycle every ride, change your oil.
No, yeah,
it's
just. I mean, I think you're going to be obsessed about no matter what, and especially if you're paying $5,000 for a motorcycle or $5,000 for a pedal bike or or an acoustic bike, as I will now be using that.
Yeah, that's a great term.
I will be rubbing that in a lot of people's faces. Nice acoustic bike. Yeah, exactly. Apparently, you prefer to be in good health, and pedal. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of our listeners, a lot of car people, they gravitate toward other sports like that. Anything with wheels, we're into. It doesn't really matter what the drive is. It's just like if you have a car, you typically like bicycles, dirt bikes, anything that rolls, you're into.
Right. Well, and it's a great compliment because there are a lot of days you can't go do all that car stuff, but you have an hour to go pop some wheelies, or you have an hour to go for a little trail ride.
Yep. For our good friend Cameron, we've had on the show before. He's Redmond PD, bicycle PD, actually. Great guy. And he now, because he's moved from vehicle to bike, like he has gone nuts. Sold his GTI. Well, he had a R32, he had a really nice one. Went back to a truck because bicycle. Now he's got something to haul it with, and he just went all in with it. And I'm like, man, it looks really fun. It looks like I got to do that too. Now I have a truck. You can see what's coming next.
I've been looking at it. I'm not gonna lie. Well, no, I've been looking at getting another bike. I miss having a bike. I haven't had a bike in probably 4 years now. And I miss it. Like I said, when I lived in Redmond, I was out at Duthie like all the time.
Yeah.
And I met so many people out there. And which, by the way, if you're in this area and want to just go out and ride, it's a really good place to start, kind of out there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's ironic because now we live in Sammamish and I haven't been there since. But
let's change it. We just got here.
I could ride there literally.
If we could buy bicycles, we would probably be there.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
well, now you have to go.
I know. It's something. We were joking. You were saying you should get back into it, and it has been an itch where I'm like,
yeah.
But money has just been going in other directions right now. I'm like, I just got to divert a couple of months to a bike. So,
yeah.
Well, that's it's funny when we're looking at property right now, and one of the things I want to do is like I want at least 3 usable acres for the house and the lawn and the shop and everything else, but I'm actually looking for at least 5. And not because I need a ton of land, it's because I actually want to build a trail system again.
Sure.
I had that growing up. When I lived in the middle of nowhere in Arlington, that was a lot more easy.
You just want to live in a trailer no matter what it takes.
That's true, I do, yeah.
In a van down by the river.
I'm like, shop first, house, it'll get there.
Yeah.
No. But no, it's because I want to build a trail system to go ride, and it's just when you have that land, you can do that. And luckily, but here, if you're on a bicycle, let's segue into our next part of the conversation. What are your favorite places to ride that are local to you?
So, well, living in Fall City,
Yeah.
that is by design because I love Tokel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right in Fall City, so I can pedal there from my house, and it's got a ton of trails. It's actually where I go, and I take my dog for sunset hikes there. Oh. So it's quiet, nobody's out there, so it's kind of that's my spot.
The dog
so don't
has
go
lots
there,
of
listeners.
Yeah.
Don't be rude.
The dog has lots of energy because it gets chicken soup. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
So, yeah.
Our dog is well fed.
Yep. Well loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. So it's a cool multi-purpose spot. Being in Fall City, it's at a really low elevation. Mm-hmm. So in the winter, it rarely gets snowed out. So it's a fun spot because it's always runs great in the winter, and then it kind of leaves the shoulder seasons in summer open for Tiger and Raging River. Duthie, actually, I think Duthie is one of the coolest spots ever. People across the world ask, oh man, I want a Duthie. Nobody has a Duthie. Duthie is the coolest progression spot ever.
It's amazing how much it's changed because I remember like when we go there and you could like park inside like where the main circle is now.
Oh, yeah.
And now you drive out there and there's cars for miles. Not that you can't.
It's almost like if you needed something to get there, you still could.
I was in a store one time and I heard a guy bitch. He's like, we tried to go to Duthie. We had to park 2 miles away. I'm like, you went for mountain biking, right? Yeah. I was like, so you had something to ride to Duthie?
I'm like, that's a really short ride.
Yeah. I was like, suck it up. Jesus.
That's funny.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's busy there, and so it is
That's
really easy to go and work your job for an hour and then leave because it's such a social scene too. So it's busy. It's full of kids. It's fun to see the families there.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, the whole parking lot would just be for parents with kids or families or anybody with kids, because it gets nuts there. But on the other hand, it's a lot of people outside having fun.
Yeah.
So it's a
good, but there's a lot of people there that will help you. Like I said, I've learned a lot while riding there. People are going, you might want to try this, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's fun.
You may or may not take their advice.
You take it and try it. I didn't say it worked.
I was there with a friend,
yeah.
and some guy told my friend, like, you should tell her to pedal off the end of the drop to bring her front wheel up.
Yeah, that'll do that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's a great transition. So I was going to ask
Just wheelie off it. You're fine.
Just wheelie.
Bunny hop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling this other man how to coach me.
I was going to ask you.
Thank you for mansplaining mountain biking.
Exactly that.
No, get this. I had another guy at the park. He was like, you should really take a lesson with Fluidride.
Really?
Thank you.
Do you have their number?
I'll take that into consideration.
I run the company.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate that advice, but I'm glad you think so highly of them as well.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm doing my job right if you think we're that reputable. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the takeaway. And then I told him that, and he's like, oh, so I'm mansplaining to you.
Hey, at least he owned up to it. At least he's
He
like,
did.
oh,
He
egg
handled-
on face, my bad.
Handled it well. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I was going to ask you how often you get that. In the car world, we do see it a lot. And as the more enlightened of us, I'd like to think, we're like, dude, just shut up. Like, we see that a lot. Like, guys talking to other women drivers at the track. I'm like, dude, she could smoke you on this track in a Miata, and you're driving a GT2 RS. Shut up. Do you get that a lot in the mountain bike world still?
Just being a female?
Yeah,
or?
just being a woman in the mountain bike world.
Oh, you're
Who
a
knows what
woman?
you're
I
doing.
didn't notice. That's so interesting.
We didn't introduce your pronouns. I
Yeah,
apologize.
exactly. Yeah.
Do
you want me to slow that down for you, sweetie?
Can you write it?
Yeah, No, I can't. I'm an ape-like man. Ugh. Girl ride bike good.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't. That's a tough question. I get some funny things, but I don't know. I feel really respected in this space, and I think for me, I don't ever want to go out there and be like, hey, look, women can jump this jump, or women can do this stuff too. I just don't really care to do that. I just want to show up, and if people notice, they notice. Great. But yeah, I do. I kind of have this dream of a bunch of we call them lady trains, or, trains at the bike park, and you got a long line of people hitting a jump line. And I have this vision of it just silently being a bunch of women going by.
Make a great video for you guys.
And it'll just be normalized. And we don't have that right now, but I think that we can, and I think we will one day. It's just, there is definitely a differential. Like when you see a train go by, it's probably dudes right now.
Yep. I was listening to a podcast on Joe Rogan. It was, I forget her name. She's a climber, one of the best in the world. She just did an incredible free climb up in Yosemite. But she was saying her goal was not to be, she's a great woman climber. She's a great climber. And I was like, that's a great way to say that. That's what I can see that being the striving point. She's a great climber. She's a great rider. She's a great driver. Like, it's just great driver. It's not, she's a great women driver. She's just a great driver. She's a great rider.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, there's so much technique in mountain biking that, I can definitely show up some other men on on the trail, and that's fun, and they laugh, and
like everyone in this room and then some.
we get some kicks out of it, and we move on. And I don't know, I also feel like I have gotten a lot of opportunities just because I'm a female, and I'm grateful for them. And I mean, I got this job because they needed to represent women more, and I've gotten a bunch of photo shoots, and I've gotten videos, and I've gotten all these things, and I think that's been a huge blessing for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed out of that conversation.
Welcome back.
No, I'm good.
Welcome
Welcome
join
to your
us.
show.
There was nothing I was going to say. I mean, not that I have any problem with any of that. So, yeah. What are you riding now, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Good question.
I am on an Evil Insurgent.
Okay.
So that is a 27.5, kind of a mid-travel bike. So 160 mil in the front, 150 in the rear.
Okay.
So it's a very neutral trail bike style,
enduro
enduro
specifically,
style. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would really like to get a 29er next because it rolls so fast. And if you're racing, you kind of want to be on, I think I want to be on a 29er. But then they've also got the mullet bike, which hasn't really taken off. But I don't know, I think there's some promise to it. That's the 29er in the front for rolling over. larger objects.
Yes, when you hit the hole, you're not diving into it.
27.5 in the back, so
Yeah.
you've got the business and party
that would
mix.
also sit the rake back. I've seen photos of a couple of them, but I didn't see.
Well, it depends if the bike was designed for
Yeah.
that or if somebody just threw a larger wheel in the front.
Maybe I just saw one with a larger wheel in the front.
Somebody might have just put that
It
on
was.
there.
There was definitely a rear-facing rake, I would say.
Well, just imagine how well it descends.
Ooh.
Imagine. Give me a minute.
It's funny how much
I
of
can
this
see it.
I see this
I'm
transfer
imagining.
So I didn't interrupt your dreamscape.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting stuff. Let's take our second break, and we'll be right back. We'll talk more about bikes, where you're going next, and there's not much from Avance, of course, because COVID. We'll be right back.
Grandpa, what do you call this thing again?
It's a 66 Ford Bronco.
I think you got ripped off.
Why is that, honey?
It's got no Wi-Fi, no USB port, no Bluetooth.
Exactly. I guess we'll just have to talk.
Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
Is that the window button?
It's called a window crank.
Cool. The faster I move it, the faster it goes down.
This moment of escape was created by Haggerty
Being old is kind of cool, Grandpa.
Works for me.
for people who love cars.
That's the third time it happened to me.
You can say that a lot.
Well, it's a lot of things happen to me 3 times.
You need to learn the second time.
No.
And the first is
It's
great.
the first time you screw up. The second time you screwed up, and you do it the same time, and hopefully you get it right the third time.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. Don't mess with porcupines. I know now.
I was wondering as a pet, have you heard them nibble on things? It's adorable.
As long as you pet them from the head back, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried that one. It's not a good idea.
Pet one at the zoo when I was a kid.
Did you?
Boy, we both have ADD a lot.
Squirrel! Porcupine! And the squirrel came back to bite me. So, yeah.
Well, run
Hi.
with the skunk.
Nice to see you're still here.
Hello.
I'm really actually surprised. So it's like some of the stuff that's happened in the break. I'm not surprised. She's like, I just realized I don't want to be here. Like, yeah. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I ride mountain bikes, and you f***ers are crazy. So yeah, you can. She's not saying no. She's not
I didn't
saying
technically say that on air.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, fair
It
enough.
wasn't recorded. It didn't happen.
Okay, good.
Let's talk cars a little bit because, it's funny how that always interweaves itself into our show.
You have to have a car to get your bike somewhere.
Right? And you have a pretty cool one, which you share with Nick.
I love my car.
Yeah. Tell us more about your Crosstrek.
Yeah, so I've got a Subaru Crosstrek. It's a manual, which was a little bit hard to find.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I'm
Both manuals.
Yep.
very, very proud. I sounds like I'm challenging a record here, but I have 136,000 miles on my original clutch, and my goal is at least 150. It's going strong.
That's awesome.
But
You
no,
bought
that car
it,
rips.
and you bought it brand new.
Yes.
I mean, okay, so everybody knows I'm getting in the world right now because there was an Avance event and I burned my clutch up a little bit. But, there's a difference, though. You're going to win this because, mine's new, so you're winning. Trust me.
Yeah, his is is it even a year old yet?
No, it's 2 years old.
Oh, it is 2 years. Wow, have you had that long?
I've had it. Oh, no, okay, it'll be 2 years. I'm sorry, it'll be 2 years in February.
Okay, yeah.
There's only 14,000 miles on it, though.
Are you 31-inch tires?
Yeah.
3-inch lift?
BF good, but it's 31-inch tires. Yeah, I don't know how much we want to put out there as far.
It's completely stock and under warranty.
It was always the joke that I left the Subaru dealership and told Dan I'm not going to modify this, and he's like, really? And I was like, no, I ordered. So yeah, it's gone. I mean, so you've got, what year is yours?
2014.
2014. Okay.
Oh, early Crosstrek.
Yeah, and it was the perfect car for this because you can put the bike on the back, and I'm small, so I can sleep in the back on road trips, and it gets great gas mileage, so it was the perfect road trip car.
Hers gets good gas mileage. That's nice to know that they exist.
It doesn't do that so much.
Mine doesn't do it so much, but yeah, that's not Subaru's fault. That's my fault.
We have very different cars, it sounds
We
like.
very much do. We very, very much do. Yeah, it's.
No, it really is a great car
But the
for
reliability.
mountain biking, though, because when you got to go to the places, gravel roads, no big deal with the Crosstrek.
Yeah.
Good ground clearance and apparently a good clutch when it's not lifted.
Right.
It's not the clutch that's the problem.
It's the driver.
Whoa.
Calling you out.
The truth hurts, okay? Wow. Why don't you pedal off into the distance?
I would, but it's dark.
Oh.
I didn't bring any lights.
It's dark and I didn't bring my lights.
It's cold outside.
Exactly.
And
Let me guess.
snowing.
And you probably didn't bring the right clothes either.
I did not. I'm wearing a leather jacket and boots, but
Yep.
I'll make it work.
It'll be a cold ride, but I'll do it.
Yeah, actually, all of
Determination.
our vehicles are covered in snow.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
Can you drive in snow?
Why, yes, I can.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Anything you can't do?
Yeah, then unfortunately, probably those things.
Okay, yeah, okay.
That's crazy. It is snowing. But no, that car handles very well in the snow. I feel confident about my drive home.
Good.
It's good. It's nice to see a Subaru driver that's confident. There's some out there that aren't.
Just going to go really slow.
You'll be fine. You literally have to get on this road, and it will take you home.
There's a hairpin turn.
Around a roundabout? Like, this literally... There's
There's
two roundabouts.
there's like waterfalls on the way home.
It's a pretty view.
Keep your eyes on the road.
We have some very good friends at Salish if you want to stop.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I just realized that where she
that
lives
sounds
and where
nice.
we are, she literally gets to get on this road, and it takes her home.
It's pretty much, one road home.
Yeah.
I'll enjoy it.
We're getting a little snippy at each other.
No, I see that. Yeah.
Well, I have a chauffeur, so...
You just scooted away from me.
Well, it's out of arm's length to be swung at.
my huge guns here.
Yeah, I mean, it's gun...
I didn't bring any of those.
Yeah. This is... You know, you get around people, and we tend to do this with this podcast, and it's funny. We were talking about it off the break, and the fact that we're sitting at the Mountside Tavern, and you were talking to last week's guest, and how 1 degree of separation, that too.
Saturation.
1 degree of saturation.
Nick's cut off.
Yeah, well, I'm not driving home. It's fine. And it's funny how this world, with the cars and mountain bikes and motorcycles, it's so intertwined, and it's kind of a cool fact. So,
tell us more about Fluid. If people want to get a hold of you, if they want to go ride, if they want to learn, obviously you guys are the place to go to. It's great that you're local. We have a ton of local audience. I'm sorry your listeners around the rest of the world, but our local audience, if they want to get a hold of you, where do they go? And what do you guys offer? You guys talked about tours. You guys do more than instruction is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, it actually is convenient if you have listeners from all around the world because we have that online school, so that's accessible to everybody. Mm-hmm. We're going to offer a video review product soon, so you can just take a video of yourself and send it in to us, and we can give you customized feedback on that.
you have to be on a bike, Dan. I already asked that question.
No, I mean, I guess we haven't released it yet, so we could probably be flexible.
So I can send this, like, should I be wearing this riding? And you'd be like, yes or no?
I will do custom, like, attire advice.
Okay, that's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I will help you look the part.
So a good question is, how does one learn to ride a mountain bike online? How does that work with the online classes?
Well, so a lot of it is video based. So you can either watch videos, you can send in videos. We've got a lot of written content, and actually part of my job right now is to rebuild what we've got for an online school because it's essentially a content library right now. Mm-hmm. We're going to turn it into a learning experience so you can both learn by watching, but also learn by comparing your own video to the videos we've got. We have tons of in-person classes here. We're offering stuff in Baja. We do tours in Europe. We do stuff in Eastern Washington and Idaho. So we're slowly expanding our reach geographically.
Idaho's great for mountain biking.
It is.
Yeah, anything.
Well, I grew up riding Schweitzer and Mount Spokane, things like that.
Yeah, Silver Mountain's really fun too.
So I was one of the original first people to ever ride down Silver Mountain on a mountain bike. I did it on accident. Wasn't my intent.
How do you just end up at the top of the mountain with a bike?
No. I took the bike up and was riding and was going to do some, and I ended up taking the wrong trail and ended up, when you ride down Silver Mountain, you end up like about 5.5 miles outside of Kellogg.
Yes.
And then that was not my intent. Like I had bought an up ticket and a down ticket and took the wrong trails, but they're well marked now, by the way. So yeah.
All right.
It was a long time ago. You were young. You wouldn't have understood. Back when your clutch was new.
Probably the same age.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
I feel better.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. We were born in the 70s. So yeah.
Okay, then I'm
there
wrong.
you go. Yeah, that's the easiest way to say that. But I mean, technology-wise, like, so are you paying to watch videos? Is that how the program works?
Well, we do have the online school is paid, but we have a ton of free content on our YouTube channel. So what we're actually doing right now is we started a series involving me as the rider, where I am learning to improve my skills.
I saw your turn correction video the other day. Very good, by the way.
You did. Thank you. Thanks for watching it. So we have this ongoing series. I've got 2 goals. One is a speed and tech goal, and one is a style goal. So we're trying to hit all the main elements of mountain biking. And so that's going to be probably close to a 1-year series. We're dropping new videos every week. and every week has a new skill. So that's an easy way to learn as well, because you can kind of follow my progression. And it's funny because a lot of the skills and the techniques that we're using apply equally to beginner riders and pro riders.
Cool.
Well, I mean, it is, and I've done this actually at Duthie long before I knew about this, and the fact that I've gone on YouTube and been like, okay, what's the proper way to ride a berm? Because you know, a lot of people come in it and you end up going over it or shooting through it, or you're leaning too much into it and you're falling over. I've done it, but I was literally out there with Duthie, like watching a video, and it was funny because somebody came riding up and he's like, "Are you watching a video on how to do that?" I was like, "Yeah." This is long before I knew about you. This was many, 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 many years ago.
Now you can just call me.
There
I
you
can.
go.
Yeah. Hey, you can't see this, but how do I ride this? No, okay, I'll hold the phone up. You still can't see it, but okay, well, it goes up about an angle. Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly.
But it is actually a really, really good tactic. I have done the same thing, sitting at Duthie and pulling at videos and kind of watching the owner of my company, Simon Lawton. He's got a bunch of great videos, so I'll watch him, and then I'll take a video. I just put my phone on a log or something, have a friend hold my phone, and I do my own video review right there at Duthie.
Right there, you can see where my collarbone broke. Oh, I can see it. Oh, look at that.
It's actually
It's the
great.
limping afterwards that gives it away.
No.
Yeah.
You should actually watch that video. You should watch that video because
Okay.
I crash and then I'm so embarrassed and I sit up and I'm like, oh, that didn't feel good.
Something doesn't feel like it was where it was before when I started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later in the video, I'm like, I didn't know it was broken and
Ooh.
well, I was like, oh, I think there might be something wrong with this one.
This one seems to be drooping a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
And then
That's a
later,
stroke, but
Yeah.
good try.
I feel
Oh, I have those a lot then. We should talk. Sorry. Exactly. I have a little Bell's palsy, but, gotta stop putting antifreeze on my steaks. I learned that in the 18 movie. It's a good thing.
Wait, teach me this life lesson?
No antifreeze on your steak.
Yeah. Makes you a little Bell's palsy if you're not careful.
Well, what color was it? Was it like the blue Gatorade
Oh, you
kind
got
or like
green.
the
You can always go
lime?
with green.
Okay.
It tenderizes the meat. Everybody knows that. It's time for you to grow up.
Don't take cooking lessons from Nick. This is not that show.
I hate that I live in this world. Do not put antifreeze on your steaks. Watch the 18 movie. You'll understand.
Okay. Anyway.
God. Okay. Why are you looking? I wish I could have photographed. Like, I looked over there and she's like, what the?
She's like, did you learn this the hard way?
No, I was actually just wondering if you had also overcooked your steak, but
Oh, no.
Other thing, yeah.
Oh, no. Sous vide and sear.
Yeah,
We never
absolutely, yeah.
overcook. Yeah.
Duh.
proper steak cooking just with the antifreeze.
Absolutely.
So, besides the local area, and let's exclude Baja for the sake of doing so, where are your favorite places to ride outside of the state? Like, if you had a destination ride, what would it be?
Oh, I actually have a strong feeling on this one.
Good.
Revelstoke, British Columbia.
Love Revelstoke.
It's the best riding I've ever done. They've got
Best snowmobiling, too.
Yeah, they've got great snowmobiling, and they literally have everything up there. They've got pedal mountains. They've got the best shuttle mountains they've ever done. They have a heli drop, so you can go up Mount Cartier on a helicopter with your bike and climb up to this incredible peak, 360 panoramas, and then descend 7,000 feet on your bike and end up at the lake. They've got a new, a gondola ride up there. So they've got...
I think it said gondola. Just so
It's
we're
a
clear.
gondola for our Canadian listeners.
Hey.
What about it? Okay. Yeah.
So they've got that. They literally have everything up there for mountain biking.
Yeah, Canada is a outdoor. If you're into snowmobiling or downhill mountain biking, actually off-road as well, Canada's amazing. I'm really mad right now because I once a year I typically go up to Lake Louise, Jasper, that area, and I love it. And I can't go right now. It's driving me insane. I'm just missing out. I'm seeing like the Fairmont Banff is sending photos of Lake Louise, sending photos of the lake. I'm like, yeah, thanks, jerks.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because a lot of people think about mountain biking and a lot of the sports, and they think of Whistler and they think of the western strip of BC. But then that inland, you can do that tour.
Yeah.
And you can hit Big White and Silver Star and Revelstoke, Panorama, Kicking Horse. Like, there's so many destinations up there.
And there's great food up there, of all things. Revelstoke is like a destination, and it's I wouldn't say if you're not into that stuff, it's that much of a destination. But if you're into snowmobiling or mountain biking, man, yeah, Revelstoke needs to be really high on your list. Every time I go through there, I stop. So I can drive straight through to Lake Louise if I really want to, but the stop at Revelstoke is always worth it. It's so scenic, so beautiful. People are great. The food's amazing. Yeah, I love it there.
But that being said, if you get a chance to go to Crankworks at Whistler, go.
Oh, yeah.
It's a show, but it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what makes it.
Well, yeah, I know. That's my point.
Crankworks is a week where you just don't know when you'll sleep.
Yes.
There's been so many times where I've been sitting in a bar and heard somebody go, like several beers in, I could do that. No, you couldn't. Get me my bike. Like, no, don't. No, sit down.
Yeah.
I could do that. No, you couldn't.
Yeah.
That's a pro, and Red Bull is filming him. Golf, you can't do that. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was a bit of a nomad in like 2007 to 2012, and I used to go up to Whistler when I lived up north, so going to Whistler was not really long of a drive, and I just kept meeting people up there, and so I got to know some of the staff that worked there, and I would just crash with them, so I didn't have to pay the outrageous prices. And there was a friend I had up there, she worked at like 3 different bars up there and did some yoga class or something, and I met her at Garibaldi Lift Co., just a friend, nothing more. Don't read into this, listeners. But she would introduce me to everybody around there. And so I basically went up there for a year, never paid for anything, because she was like, oh, I know the guys at this hotel. They'll just give you a room that doesn't sell out. Just go there. So I'm like,
wow.
Debbie sent me over. They're like, oh, you're cool. Whatever. Don't make a mess of the room. I'm like, okay. And I would just toured around Whistler and all over Whistler and did whatever they wanted me to do. It's like, I don't care this is just great.
It's such a fantasy land up there.
It is. It's amazing. I can't imagine how much I would have spent.
Thank God you knew the right people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, Friends in Low Places playing in the background constantly because it was just like.
Oh, I was like,
yeah.
thought you were about to say you call these people friends in low places. I was like, that's not nice, Dan.
No, just like
Yeah, I
knowing
get-
people
I
on
get- I
the
get
low
what you-
levels.
yeah,
It's
I-
like, all the Australians are awesome.
The lower
too.
levels, yes. Those people.
I was that person.
Oh, I
And it's
see.
like you bring a pitcher of beer to a stable of Australians, let me tell you, they're your friends. They're awesome up there. You're like,
I
hey.
wouldn't last 2 seconds at a table of Australians.
Oh, you'd love them. Those guys
No,
are awesome.
I said a pitcher of beer wouldn't last. You
Oh,
gotta,
no.
You got to show up to a table with like 3 pitchers of beer with Australians.
I'm here for the weekend. I don't know anybody. You guys cool? Here's a pitcher of beer. They're like, yeah, come hang out with us all weekend. I'm like, all right.
Your accent sucks. That's not what they sound like.
That's not at all what they sound like.
Okay, yeah. Sure, mate. Sit down. Put another shrimp on the barbie.
Oh, that's really
Yeah,
good.
there you go. Thanks.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Future guest Nick from Australia is going to be listening to this and he's going to be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. A lot.
Yes.
Most people know that already. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a great call out to Revelstoke.
Yeah. Revelstoke is the spot because there are so many places within a couple hours from there. Always new adventure every time you go up there. And you're right, the snow sports and the summer sports are really good up there.
So, what advice would you give to somebody that maybe is starting to mountain bike with their boyfriend or wants to get into mountain biking? Female or male, doesn't matter. Like, what should they do? Like, what steps should they take? Like a simple step. Like, should they go to their local bike store? Should they reach out to somebody like you?
Yeah, first thing is get your hands on a bike that fits well. Get the
That's
right
tough,
gear.
too.
It is tough, especially right now. But getting the right gear, getting the bike that fits right. Because if your bike is too tall for you and it's a stressful experience every time you have to get off of it, or if you're on maybe something a little bit off camber and you have to get off on the downhill side and every time that happens you fall, or every time you fall it hurts more than it needs to, it's just not going to be a sustainable experience.
You're going through all these things in your head, or if this happens, or if this happens. Or this, yeah.
So just like, gloves and knee pads and a helmet that fits well, a bike that fits well, those are all really good starting points because you are going to fall and you need to make sure that that's not a really negative experience.
And it is tough. Do your research. With the internet, it's easier with a bike. It's not the old days where you could get a Schwinn, a Cannondale, or a Trek, and those are your things. There's so many independent companies out there that are making really quality bikes. So, and getting and fitment. That was kind of where I was going with that fitment side of it, because you can get into a bike. You can go into any place and they will sell you a bike. Anybody will sell you a bike, but you need to make sure that the bike fits you. So do your research. Make sure that it fits you.
I also think maybe some of your listeners don't know about these, but the dropper post is a huge thing because basically there's a lever on your bar, and when you push it, the seat goes up and down. It's like a hydraulic post, or it could be a cable post. So what that does is that the seat is up when you're pedaling, so you can have a comfortable, more, I guess, healthy pedal because you can extend your knee properly. But then when you're descending, the seat is not in your way. And if the seat's in your way and you can't move properly on the bike, you're much more likely to crash, and it's not going to be a pleasant experience.
If you don't know what a dropper post is, don't be sitting anywhere near the seat when you push the button. I'm just going to say it.
It could be a different button too. There's usually 3 levers on your bars, maybe
I
4.
felt like
so.
the seat was going to go through me the first time I hit that button.
Oh, so set it up properly.
Well, it was set up.
Yeah, but like
I'm so glad you were come today.
Learning curve.
all of these things matter. Like if
Yeah.
if you've got too much air in your fork and your shock and you're getting bounced around, if your bike isn't balanced properly, if it's too soft and it's diving in all the corners, it doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to go into the shop every week to get your bike tuned up, but have a good starting point so that your bike isn't making your life more difficult. It isn't making your ride dangerous.
Which is not fun. And you can learn to work on your bike. That's a lot of fun. In fact, I enjoyed it. Like, I was giving him crap about how clean his bike is, but mine was always the same. I'd take out and ride it, and I'd clean it top to bottom.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of time.
So I don't clean my bike, actually.
Well, you air every 3 months. We heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't really clean my bike, but it works great, and I don't have any problems. I've never had a flat tire on a mountain bike.
Wow, really?
Never.
Are you running tubeless?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
You
It's
fancy.
great. So fancy. No, that's pretty standard now.
Her wheel's
Yeah.
glued. No.
But no, to answer your question, get the right setup and start in environments where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
So start, err on the side of easier, more cautious, because a huge part of mountain biking is confidence on the bike. And so you want to work your way up in a nice, easy fashion. Depending on the person.
Do
maybe,
not get click-in pedals if you're a new rider.
yeah,
You will
flats,
fall over at the stop sign.
flats are great.
Yeah.
But learning in the right environment, like learning with people that help build your confidence, that are often, if they're on the same level as you, and you learn together, that can be a great feeling. So finding the right group and getting started with the right gear goes a really long way.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels here for just learning a new motorsport or a new sport like bicycling or anything like that. A lot of parallels. So,
Yeah.
But you can speed that up a lot by getting proper instruction and learning the right way from the first time. Because like anything, there's some bad habits that can be created pretty early on if you don't know what you're doing. So.
Yeah, and it can be and I'm saying this with my own personal mistakes, because I didn't take a lot of instruction. I only had a few classes when I started riding, and then I got into this in the last year, and I realized how much I'd missed out on by not taking advantage of coaching, and having not only to now learn it, but having to undo all those bad habits. And it's the same in every sport, but I think in a lot of organized sports it's normal to have coaches and have lessons, especially when you're growing up in organized sports and school sports. You have a coach, and that's normal, and you work on technique. But a lot of people just go out there and ride, and they don't put in the technique work, and
you can learn a lot, but it is good to have technique. And there are a lot of places you can reach out to, places like you. There are riding groups through REI, through your local bike shops and things like that.
Yeah.
And definitely reach out to it, because there are other people out there that are trying to learn too, and they need that. Most people just want to get the hell out of their house right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can social distance on a mountain bike. In fact, you should.
That's very easy to do, actually.
Much,
That's a great
much
thing to
longer
do
than
right
6 feet, because that way if a person crashes in front of you, you can avoid them.
just bunny hop over them.
Yep.
Just keep rallying.
That was the one skill I was never, ever good at. Ever.
Well,
I had clip-ins, so I could do it. But like when I would get on like a flat pedal, I never mastered that spot. Yeah.
There was one video I was watching. There's a sharp downhill, it's a left-hand turn with one of those bank turns with the wood, that they built up really nice. Yeah. And then, but everybody misses it. You see like these people just falling on top of each other constantly.
oh my God.
If you want to watch something funny, go down and if you have to find it yourself. But there is a urban mountain bike park in Seattle. Go watch. Things there.
Yeah.
That's
You've been
live.
there?
Oh yes.
To Colonnade?
Oh yes. It is live entertainment. You actually will learn a lot, but it's well maintained. But you talk about all the boards and things like that. It's a lot of fun to ride, but there's a lot of places you can sit there and you can learn a lot by watching somebody else do everything wrong. So yeah.
I always wanted to live stream some of the more technical features at Doothie.
Fun.
It could just
That'd be great, actually.
could be a learning experience.
Yeah. No, it really could. I mean, one of the best things I think you could do is those. They still have those drop-off posts, right? Like, like that would be great, because it's interesting to watch people do that and then nosedive off it. I mean, it's not. And I'm not talking about watching people like get hurt, but it's interesting to watch somebody try to come up the end and just yank up on the bars at the last second, thinking that the front end's going to stay up long enough for the rear end to come down. But
yep.
And when I say that, I mean I've done that, and
Watching people.
Yeah, people / put my name in there. Yeah. Yeah. But that would be cool to go up there and live stream and kind of show people, because there's a lot of really great trails up in there. People don't even know about. Yeah.
All right. So if people want to find you, how do they find you?
Yeah, so you can find my company. It's fluidride.com.
Okay.
You can find me. It's Linnea Rooke on Instagram, Facebook. I don't know the rest of the socials.
I'll do the linking for you, but I'll link your Instagram, your Facebook, and of course Fluidride.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming in. We don't have any Avant stuff?
No Avants. They have the tentatively plans off-road stuff, but obviously it's being canceled as needed based on just hoping that we get some COVID restrictions lifted. But if that's not the appropriate thing to do, then we won't. But if you go to avants.com or actually the Facebook page, it is extremely busy. There's people doing stuff.
Ton of talk. Yeah.
People doing drives, especially off-road right now because of the season and all the fresh snow.
Yeah.
But they're still doing street drives even. It's a great way to social distance. You can still do car stuff. The Facebook pages are busier than I've ever seen them. There's a great conversation every day, real conversation, good questions, good learning, great people. So go to avants.com, check them out. And, of course, if there's anything that pops up with new events, we'll let you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we really do appreciate you coming in and taking all of this grief, which you didn't need to do. You're too nice of a woman to be doing that. And it gave us something, with RCS, we're trying to kind of get out there and talk to a lot of people of the hobbies that people do when we're not in our cars. So,
yeah,
awesome.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be here and listen to me talk about bikes.
Oh, we like it.
Yeah, we love it.
So,
yeah. A special shout out and thanks to David, the owner of the Mountside Tavern, who's letting us record here, and the bar is closed. Listeners, thank you for liking the page and check them out because it is a motorsports destination, not just the most awesome bar on I-90. But
agreed.
Yes, but check them out.
Cool. Well, for this episode of RCS, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.